Hey, what's going on, you Rizless Relicanth? Got some new cards to take a look at coming out in the Mega Evolution set in September. So a little ways away, but some new cards to talk about nonetheless. And speaking of new cards, if y'all ever need any new Pokemon card singles or sealed products, then the Card Coliseum has got you covered. Check them out, pkmandcoliseum.com. Link, of course, will be in the description, and code AzulGG will get you a discount over there as well. Let's jump right into it. So of course, we've already seen some of these before, and this one came out quite a while ago, but I hadn't talked about it yet, so I thought I'd give my thoughts on it. The Cinderase with the explosiveness ability. If this Pokemon is in your hand when you are setting up to play the game, you may put it face down as your active Pokemon. It's 160 HP stage 2 Pokemon, and the Flare Turbo is pretty good for a colorless energy. Does 50 damage. It search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck. So I'm not exactly sure how I feel about this card. It seems okay. I don't know what you'd combo it with, and there probably is something out there that is decent where you could play like 3 Cinderase and then maybe even just 2. Like, I don't know, is there like a basic mega that would like combo super well with this? Maybe not either of these ones, I don't think. But if there's like some basic mega Pokemon that comes out that has like a really steep energy cost, and you could just like open the Cinderase, only play like 2 of the Mega Pokemon, and then just evolve into them. Or because you only play 2 of the other Pokemon you could start with in 4 Cinderase, you have a higher chance of opening Cinderase than you do the other Pokemon. So maybe that could work. We've seen cards like this in the past be successful. The one that comes to mind most recently is Talonflame in Greninja Break. I say most recently, but that was a long time ago. I think that was maybe the only time that card was good, or a card like that was good. There was like a Manectric more recently that was legal in the standard format, but it never actually saw competitive play. So something like that could work with Cinderase. Also, maybe something like a stage 1 or stage 2 mega Pokemon. You'd want to be setting up something really, really big that wouldn't go down too easily. Maybe something like the Sea Titan could combo with the Cinderase, but yeah, cool card. Finding something to combo partner with it is going to be the hard part. I can't think of anything currently legal in standard that would actually work, but maybe something in the future comes out where we can actually combo it with the Cinderase. And I guess you could play like a Count of Score Bunny as well, and then some are candies, so you could, like, if you don't open the Cinderase, you could open a Score Bunny and then like turn 2 Candy Cinderase. Maybe there would be a possibility there as well. We'll see. Got some megas, of course. We got the Mega Absol EX here. 280 HP basic Pokemon Doom period for the first attack here for a Dark and a Colorless. If your opponent's active Pokemon has exactly 6 damage counters on it, that Pokemon is knocked out. And then for Dark Colorless, Cruel Claw 200, your opponent reveals their hand, discard a card you find there. So honestly, the Cruel Claw is actually not bad. That's actually like pretty solid for an attack. This Pokemon does have 280 HP, which is quite a bit. And the Doom Period attack is like the attack that you probably want to be able to abuse with this Pokemon if you're going to include it as like a one-of in some decks. I couldn't really come up with anything that this works super well in. I feel like it's kind of missing a piece, mainly just like some kind of dark energy acceleration to not just use the first attack, but also the second attack. Now, it could get utilized with counter gain. You could, you know, attach a dark energy, attach a counter gain, and then you're using Doom period. But the only way I could think of to get like 6 damage counters in play easily on your opponent's side of the field, no, I don't think it works very well with Dragapult. Dragapult would technically work, but that's a really weird energy lineup to include in a Dragapult deck. But would be some kind of like Frostlass Monkey Dory deck. You already got the dark energy in the deck for the Monkey Dories. Frostlass does spread damage to stuff with abilities. Monkey Dory can build up damage on other Pokemon. I could see that actually being okay, but that's like really the only thing I could come to. And then even then, you would still have to combo this with counter gain in the late game to actually get value out of this card in a single turn. Put it in play ahead of time might not be terrible some of the time, but some of the time it also might not be good. So yeah, not sure about where this one would get included currently. Once again, kind of like the Cinderase, I think it's waiting for a couple more pieces to actually make it function. A card that's probably not waiting for a couple more pieces, though, is the Mega Mawile EX, 270 HP. The Greedily Devour attack is the big attack on this card. For 2 Metal Energy, you do 80 damage for each prize card you've taken. And then Big Bite for Metal Colors also isn't bad. If your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, before this attack does damage, his attack does 30 damage instead. But this can one-hit KO stuff like Pheasantipity, Ogerpon, Raging Bolt. And then the Greedily Devour, if you've drawn 4 prize cards, does 320 damage, which KO stuff like Dragapult, Grimmsnarl, Gardevoir. This is actually like a super powerful card for metal decks, like Archaludon, like potentially Metagross, or even a Metang deck. This card is actually pretty solid, to be honest, overall, as like a closer with that Greedily Devour. But also, like I mentioned, the Big Bite in the early game can still be pretty effective against those 2 prize EX Pokemon. So yeah, the Mega Mawile is actually a big buff for metal decks in general. I'm going to be interested to see what decks it slots into best. Like I mentioned, there's already some good options right now, and who knows what the future holds for metal Pokemon, but they've got a good closer or early game attacker. Like I mentioned, the Big Bite's not bad in the Mega Mawile EX, that is for sure. And especially it being a Mega Pokemon, it is worth 3 prize cards, but if you're only using it to close out games, your opponent never gets to really take advantage of the fact that you have a 270 HP 3 prize Pokemon in play, because you're winning the game with that Greedily Devour. So it never becomes like a huge liability. Up next, we got the Ninjask here with the Cast-Off Shell. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may search your deck for a Shedinja and put it onto your bench, shuffle your deck afterward. You turn for a Grass and a Colorless, does 90 damage, and you switch it to one of your bench Pokemon, which probably would be the Shedinja. And the Shedinja says if this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon EX, your opponent can't take any prize cards for it. So, get a Grass Energy, maybe a counter gain on your Ninjask, U-turn, hit for 90, run to the Shedinja. It's interesting. That's like a whole lot to do to only do 90 damage, even if your opponent doesn't get to draw any prize cards. And with how many Gust effects we have in the current format, I don't think the Ninjask is super effective, but I think maybe when Counter Catcher and Boss's Orders rotate with rotation, all of a sudden something like the Ninjask might have some viability at that point. We'll have to wait and see. We've got the Kadabra and the Alakazam here, which are kind of like, I would say Tinkaton light, but honestly, they might be better than Tinkaton. The Kadabra has an ability when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may draw 2 cards. And the Alakazam is the exact same ability, but you draw 3 cards, and then hand power for a single Psychic Energy. Put 2 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon for each card in your hand. So I think some kind of like Alakazam to Dunsparce deck could actually be maybe pretty good. I mean, if you think about Tinkaton, Tinkaton's never been great, but it's never felt truly terrible. The deck's always been like kind of like okay as like a meme deck, and it feels like you can compete against some of the better meta decks sometimes, but we don't have to play it as a 1 prize deck. I don't know. I actually am kind of hopeful for the Alakazam deck, to be honest. Only 1 energy for the attack. We have stuff like Sacred Ash in the format to be able to heavily recover Pokemon from our discard piles. You got Poffin, you got Great Balls, Dusk Balls. Play it with the Dunsparce, like I said. You all know I'm notoriously a hater of the Dunsparce, but it would work pretty well with this card. You build the deck heavily around just finding Pokemon. Play a 4/4/4 Alakazam line. Maybe you don't even play rare candies. I don't know if you have to. I don't know what draw supporters you'd play, but I'm sure there's something out there that's pretty solid. I have some. They're like, as far as like the potential meter goes, I give Alakazam like some slight potential. I'm not 100% willing to write it off as just a meme deck yet. And the final card that was revealed that we haven't taken a look at yet is Aceros Mischief. This is a very interesting card. I do like it overall as far as its design goes. You can only use this card if your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining. Choose one of your Pokemon in play during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage from and effective attacks done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. Now, unlike other things in the Pokemon TCG, as far as like effects existing on something and then the Pokemon shifting from the active to the bench, that wouldn't apply for Aceros Mischief. So if you had like a Pokemon in the active, you could play Aceros Mischief on that Pokemon, targeting it, meaning it can't be damaged or affected by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. And then even if it goes to the bench and back to the active or stays on the bench, it still couldn't be damaged or affected by attacks. So yeah, pretty interesting card here, and gives comeback potential kind of in a different way compared to something like an Unfair Stamp or an Iona or some kind of hand disruption, where you limit your opponent's potential win conditions on your board. Like, let's say you're playing like a 1 prize deck and you have Pheasantipity in play, and at the end of the game you play a Aceros Mischief on your Pheasantipity, and then all the rest of your Pokemon in play are 1 prize Pokemon. The only knockout your opponent can take when they're at 2 prize cards is a 1 prize KO. They can't win the game on their turn, and then you win the game on your next turn. I don't know, it's an interesting card for sure. Definitely could create some cool situations. Also could create some pretty toxic control type situations as well. There is like the A-Spec that recovers 2 supporters from your discard pile, and then there's stuff like the Dene that recovers items from your discard pile, I think, or something. So you could like recover that recovers 2 Acerola Mischiefs, and then you have like a turn off to recover a different item while you go like Acerola, recover something else. Then you play Acerola, recover that ace spec again. You can recover counter catchers and crushing hammers and stuff like that. So that could get kind of toxic, I guess. Maybe control shenanigans could be coming back with this card, creating like an infinite loop for making like an invulnerable Pokemon and just winning the game through invulnerability. Who knows? Something like that could happen, which might not be as cool. But yeah, those are all the new cards. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know what combos you've come up so far with the cards, and specifically Cinderase. If you've come up with anything with Cinderase, I would definitely be curious to know. Let me know. Comment section. Catch y'all in the next video.